Hey guys, so we're back with a new one. So this will be part 2 of American Horror Story Double Feature Red Tide, episode 6 Winter Kills, and this will be the finale of American Horror Story part 1 Red Tide. Now next week Wednesday we'll start part 2 Death Valley, which they say that may have a connection to Red Tide. Now a lot of things that I've been seeing online is that some ideas came up with some of my subscribers, as well as what I've watched from other YouTubers, as they mentioned, is that the connection a lot of people believe is that the aliens were the first to create the pills by using their bodies. Because remember before, we're gonna get more into why I feel that the aliens may have a connection, as well as the chemist herself. Okay, so we're gonna break it down to see what really went down for the finale of Double Feature. But for then, now let's watch the opening credits. So we start the episode by a new place, basically by the washing dock of the beachfront, and we saw some fishermen fixing up their boats. Now previously we didn't find out that the cops, played by Dina Porter, when she died, we didn't know if Alma or Ursula helped her dispose of the body. But as they started approaching the ocean and they started looking what was going on, they end up finding her body, in the oceans. And they end up pulling it, and then the councilman, as well as some new characters at the last minute, showed up and just started laughing. And then the cop was like, you guys should not be laughing at this point, because you have a deputy or a fellow cop ranger has died, and we're gonna get in the bottom of this. So little did she know, and then Holden was like, okay, we could see what happened. She said, well, we're gonna go to Provincetown and we're gonna find out what's basically really going on. So as they're in the courtroom and they're deciding, like, everybody's gonna take matters to their own hands, the opening part 2 of the episode shows up that he started talking with Belle Noire as well as Austin, to explaining to them what's really going on, and that if they don't end up cleaning up our mess, everybody's gonna be in trouble for it. So Belle Noire as well as the chemist, so everybody's in the room. So she's basically saying, like, what should we do? She looked at Austin and she said, we're gonna make sure everything goes right back to normal. So we get this beautiful shot of the seafront, as well as Alma and the other people just started, she started talking and explaining what's going on. They still doing the same thing. So now that the parents are not even there, so they still taking a break in between to see if things were in shape, but they still keep, like, the mom inside the house, I think. And as they started leaving, we saw that in the graveyard, Ursula is trying to make a deal with those pale creatures, and she's basically telling them that if you guys want revenge, you guys could basically get those people that has done you guys harm and that has transformed you guys into how you are now. So I'm gonna give you guys these new pills, and those new pills are gonna help you fight and gain portion of those people's you know, powers and stuff. So basically they got to the Muse area, the house area, and Belle Noire as well as Austin, they're basically having a talk. They was like, no, we're planning on ending everything, and that's include Alma as well. And she said they have the baby, and then she was planning to like have a bargain, you know, if that don't work, then he's gonna, you know, kill Henry's son, because, you know, they want to make sure they save their butts, as well as the chemist also wants to, you know. But Ursula, by making a deal, she ended up finding the place where Belle Noire and Austin were, and they basically just started attacking everyone. So Belle Noire got bitten by 2 of those pale creatures, as well as Austin. So automatically we saw a lot of death already in the episode. And then they were after, so those new pills allows them to not only drink people that don't have the pills, but people that actually do have the pills also. So we saw that Ursula started shooting some of them as well, just to get them out of here. But like I said, it's all in her benefit. So Ursula ended up getting the baby, and she's explained to the chemist as well. She said that I could take you guys to like Hollywood and stuff like that, or, you know, but the best thing I could tell them is that, you know, it's good to just get away and do what we need to do to get things done. But from what I'm seeing, from one point we saw that Ursula just, I guess, gave Alma a pill as well, and Alma was talking to Henry, but ended up biting Henry right where they were, and then she started drinking all his blood. Now we did remember that she said that she, as long as she's young, she's gonna keep needing to feed, so she started drinking the blood. Now it was up to the chemist as well as Ursula, and now have the baby, which I think the baby's gonna be raised by her, or at least the chemist. And now that the chemist and Ursula are basically like teaming up, we saw that Alma killed, you know, her father, not only Belle Noire but everyone that was involved to take the pills. So now we saw that the chemist basically had an idea, you know, in order for them to move forward. You know, we see that Alma gave that look, you know, that, you know, she's hungry and that she's ready to move. She's ready to move forward, which is crazy, because all this time I always knew that she was crazy, you know. So the fact that this is happening, it's like, it's not even and then we flash forward Hollywood 3 months later, and we see that people are taking pictures, and they're in Hollywood, like people are like doing all these other things, and then we see new people walking in and giving like passing right through them, and then we see those cops that the chemist created more of those pills, so that way that the cops could be also you know, taking advantage, like bad cops that were like in the Hollywood area. So we knew that this was gonna be just an extraordinary thing that was going on. So we saw that after the cops walk into the Hollywood Walk of Fame, they called it the Massacre of Hollywood Boulevard, and that those people started falling on the floor. and the chemist is just watching this in the comfort of her home, as well as Alma and Ursula. So they just relaxing, and they have this new big place, and they just seeing what's going on. And she says, "Good that I managed to do something right, because she turned those bad cops into those pale creatures." But in the drawback, we could say that she also failed as well, because now her secret is out too, because you know, she gave the pills to those cops. So even the government might start, you know, realizing where all this is coming from. You know, it's crazy what's been going on. But I think this was probably one of the shortest episodes of American Horror Story, because it shows that, you know, they were trying to wrap everything up, which this is probably the first time I would say that it is better that they had more people and more things for the episode, because it felt short. Like at the ending, very short for what happened, because the climax of the episode happened so fast. I always said that I preferred episode 5 instead, because 5 had so much depth into it, you know, by forcing Doris to take the pills, and because of everything that Doris has been through. Like, how could that happen to her, you know? But we seen the downside to part of the episode, where I felt like the episode should have been, you know, extended even more. But like I said, the episode so far continues with, and then the episode finish off with basically the chemist just chilling, not really caring. And basically, not only she has the baby of Doris and Henry, she adopted the baby. She's just sitting in her car and just watching, seeing what's going on around her. Like, so much chaos that was happening, she just didn't care. She just basically watched how people are manipulating or destroying themselves because of the new pill that she helped created. So basically, from the very start, her job was to mess up the town and destroy it, just to move on to the next next town. So we definitely understand that she is just using the base as well as the people, just to basically go by and just use them to a point where they could transform to one of those pale creatures. So we could say she could probably still be working for the government if need be. So the episode ends there by the chemist having the baby, Ursula basically giving everybody the pills. The pills made so much chaos that the whole boulevard, as well as the bad cops, were turned into pale creatures. So those pale creatures were not only attacking people that didn't have the pills, but people that also had the pills also. So that was a double win for her, as well as her experimental thing that she's been working in the province town. Now that everyone that she has experimented on has died, she's ready to move on to the next victim in a new town. So the episode ends there, and we get a conclusion that she said that sometimes talent, or people with talent, should strive more than people that don't. So they still need a people to rule over, indicating that this is the best route for the world, especially if you're trying to, you know, move it forward. You need somebody to be better than you in order for you to know what to look up to. So it was pretty crazy how the episode portrayed, you know, what went down, you know. But you know, it was a good ending. I said, from the first episode to the 6th episode, the season's been very consistently, you know, out of the 6th episode, I think out of 5 of them could be probably the strongest episode. The first 2 were mostly introduction to the characters, as well as the lore of how they was gonna structure the season. But as we got to episode 3, and 4 we started getting the nitty-gritty of what the season was gonna be about for part 1. So now that we're gonna be going to part 3, which will be predictions about the season for part 2, which will be Death Valley, and we're gonna cover that in the next video. Stay tuned. So spoilers for the upcoming episode for American Horror Story Double Feature Part 2, which will be talked about for basically Death Valley. Now this was some of my predictions that I have for the upcoming episode. Now one thing that I had in mind was that, remember back, and there's something that came up to me that that I thought of. So remember back in Apocalypse that we had some of the islands when they were evacuated to make the outposts. Do you also think that, do you guys believe that those creatures that has been mutated to transform to those things that end up dragging the horses at the Apocalypse season were due to the pills, because of the cooperative used the pills based on the testing over the years that the aliens that they use test subject on to create the pills? Now the fact that in season 2 as well, that I remember they said that the aliens are not perfect, but they sometimes make mistakes too, but their technology and their talent to like fix things like before things die, which makes them like gods. So if you think about it, it will be very fitting that the government will test the pills first on the aliens in order for them to see how that amplify the aliens, so that's why the aliens could be the key. Because if you think about it, the whole position of Red Tide, which the chemists will be keep going around places just to see which part of the town or the people that when she gives the pills, what do the people end up doing? Like, she is just going around doing research. So if you think about it, I think she probably lied, saying that she got fired and that the government was looking for her. So if you think about it, she probably lied so that way just to make some of the experiment on her own, so that way that when she end up figuring what's making people transform, and based on the, like she said before in previous episode, she said that she used the animals. Once she gave the pills to the animals, the other animals end up eating up the other ones. But at the same time, that basically propelled her to start making tested on people, so that way the people could basically know how to unlock part of the brain that they normally don't use, especially if the person is like talented. So if you think of the aliens themselves, how talented they are, that technology as well as other magnificent abilities that the aliens could have. So the fact that if you give the aliens the pills, or we use the aliens' blood as well as their body as the creation of the pills, that could be a big factor tie-in, because it could say that before they made tested. That's why I said that the episode, the way it ended was perfect, because it's showing that not only the chemist is not only just going to work for herself, but she also going around places to test the same type of subject, so that way that when it's time to see what the result is going to be, she might just report that back to the government. Because I think the way that the episode flash forward for the next episode for part 2, the start of part 2, it shows that something is going to be black and white, and the episode are going to be revolving around the past, and then we'll bring it to the future, which means I think this episode part has took in the past, which means they're gonna have to go in the very past to show what really happened and how did she end up joining the government in the first place. Because remember, she said that she have a PhD in Harvard, so, and eventually after she graduated, probably she ended up working for the government, and they may end up telling her how to make test subjects out of people. So if you think about it, I believe that what we have seen so far from the connection is that, you know, she said that the pills have no label, no name, nor even if so. I think she's just replicating the pills, because I don't even think she knows how to fully put those pills together. So that is some of my predictions that I think the next episode will be talking about. And then how the aliens over time, they created hybrids of themselves. So you could probably say that, you know, the chemist could be one of those you know, aliens, because she didn't really want to just test it on people. She want to see the side effects, if the person's probably going to transform or not. Because in some of the trailers, it showed that the aliens were like, you know, we just want a part of us as well as a part of you to coexist at the same time. So in case if you don't think like that, that means that they want a hybrid of not only themselves but as well as the people. So that way the government itself is not just the only one to blame. So the fact that the government wants to take those pills to see what they could do to use for, like, I would say military point of wise. So definitely this season was amazing, but now that we're shifting our focus on part 2 of Double Feature, which will be Death Valley, let's just wait to see what's gonna happen. Now for part 2, the people that's gonna be playing in part 2 is Sarah Paulson, Natalie McKibben, Kaya Gardner, Nice Greenham, Rachel Helson, Lily Ray, Rebecca Dayan, Angelica Ross, Leslie Grossman, and Cody Fern. Now another thing Angelica Ross did mention was that her character is gonna be a focal point to connect the past season as well as this case, because she said her character is gonna be the person that interacts with all the other characters, which was a hint she gave to us before the season 10 was aired. So what I'm thinking of, she may probably still be showing that in the past that she worked with the government, and the government could be also part of, like, I would predict that part of the cooperative as well. And one last thing, since this is gonna be part 2 Death Valley, we might also, I believe, get a tie-in to Apocalypse with this season as well, because like I said again, Angelica Ross did mention that her character has a connection with the other previous characters from the past of seasons. So my prediction for the final second prediction on my list is that we might get a connection to either Apocalypse or Asylum dealing with you know, this season, because now that the thing was reversed, you know, we could say that, you know, creating all these pills could also be a beneficial to the government as well. This could have been the start of the Apocalypse from season 8, because you know how they had in episode 7 how they created Miss Mead as well as you know, other things that the cooperative created. This could be something very similar. But like I said, guys, thank you for watching American Horror Story season 10 episode 6 and 5. They will be uploaded shortly. and I hope you guys enjoy the videos. I can't wait for part 2, which will be airing on Tuesday. And as always, maybe this week or next week, I'll always review American Horror Story. Like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next future videos. Bye bye.